Hi and welcome back. Today I wanted to talk a bit about what we're going to be planting indoors. Propagation, I believe it's called. Tomatoes are better if you start them indoors, and we also have leeks. I have tried also to keep the seeds from the actual leeks I grew last year, and we're going to experiment with planting them as well and see how they turn out. Another thing I wanted to talk about today was the reasons we decided to come here and try and live more sustainably. The more things I can do myself, create myself, grow myself, or change so that I'm not consuming as much, means the less things I actually have to pay out for, which is less need to work so hard. Trying to live in a more sustainable way, digging the garden, planting vegetables, and losing the convenience that modern society has to offer, like supermarkets and central heating and things like that, is not easy, but there is an immense satisfaction to it, and it is free. So there is less financial and modern day pressure on me, even though it requires a bit of elbow grease. One of the things I wanted to address, which is a big bill for all of us, was electricity. Electricity contributes a lot to global warming, and it is also expensive, and possibly a lot of what we use, not necessarily what we need to use. So a starting point was our lighting. I went around and took down the traditional lighting, and I also removed the wiring. It wasn't great wiring because it's an old house, and it would have cost a lot of money to have it rewired, so I now do not need to have it rewired because I bought these little lights that take AAA batteries. I will then buy a solar panelled battery charger for just €20 on Amazon and put AAA batteries in it, pop it on the windowsill. I'll have a rotational method where some batteries are in the lighting, which work really well, and then every couple of days you just swap the ones from the charger into the lights. There is no more bill, there is no more wiring, and we have perfectly fine lights. Here's an example of my really not very safe and very old wiring. I did not want to bother repairing this. As you can see, that's perfectly adequate, works nicely. The other thing that I did 2 years ago now was to just get rid of the fridge. I have a chest freezer for all my vegetables that I store after harvest, and I have seen online that you can also buy a chest freezer with a solar panel. So again, it won't need a plug, it won't use electric from the mains grid. In place of the fridge indoors, I have just for the last 2 years been using a cool box. The reason I can't get rid of the chest freezer is because it plays such an important role in storing all the food we've grown over summer and through the winter. But the cool box is working really well. I put 2 of these in the chest freezer and 2 in the cool box. In the summer, I have to change them over every day. And in winter, I just put the cool box just outside the porchway, and it is pretty much as cold as the freezer, to be quite honest, when it's snowing. So again, that works really well. So what we have instead of a cumbersome, big, noisy fridge using up electric and charging you money for it, is this much more aesthetically pleasing space in the kitchen. As time goes along, as I go through the house, making small changes or big changes and coming up with out-of-the-box solutions into how we can reduce our electrical consumption and hopefully come off-grid completely at some point. Another really big bill that we have to pay out is the heating bill through winter, obviously. So we have 2 wood burners here. A lot of people have changed to a fuel system or radiators in central heating, but I've decided not to change because ultimately I can collect wood from outside throughout the year and then use it in my wood burner in winter. So for example, we've got some cut down wood here. I have been separating it up. We have some good straight pieces like this, which I am chopping up and putting in the woodshed. We won't be able to use it this year because it's still got resin in it, and I do the same with my Christmas trees. But next year the resin will be dried out enough to use on the fire, and throughout the year you can collect wood, big and small, for kindling and use that in your fire. The other thing I'm looking for specifically here is interesting pieces like this. Hang on. I'm liking this piece because it's got some bits coming off it, and I'll chop it about here and probably about here. You see it's got some nice forks. This will be to make a balustrade on a balcony. So I've got two piles going on. We've got balcony pile, and we've also got wood for heating next year. So all year long we go around collecting things like fir cones. They are excellent for kindling, small pieces of wood. Later on I shall start actually getting big pieces of wood and chopping it up with a chainsaw. Also we collect from all our rubbish. Instead of putting it in the bin or in the recycling, we take out anything that's made of card, anything that's made of burnable paper, and we bag it up all year. And we end up with like 20 bin bags of paper rubbish, and you think this is too much. And unbelievably, always we use it up by December, January. So that is how we're looking at keeping our cost of heating down, in fact free, during the winter. And I have to say, the great thing about the wood burner is, all winter, I mostly cook on top of it, so I'm not using a cooker. And in the future, I am hoping also to have hot water coming off that as well, so that in the winter, if we have a bath or a shower, it will be coming directly off the wood burner. Again, completely free hot water, completely free heating, and a massive reduction thus far on our electricity bill. When I came here, a lot of people said I couldn't do it, that I wouldn't be able to create a bill-free life, but we are making some real good headway with that, and I'm pleased with what we've done. Not only for my purse, but also on the environment also. What we are doing is having no negative impact on the environment, but we are still having the cosy life that we would like to have. So we had really good results with our rhubarb and our strawberries last year, and they are just carrying on their own. Like the strawberries are double all by themselves, and the rhubarbs come back. So I want to do also more fruit this year. We have blackberries everywhere naturally anyway. I've got some cranberries and some raspberries, because there's nothing I like more than a nice bit of cranberry jelly with some deep fried breaded brie, or a nice bit of roast chicken. So moving on to fruit as well, we should be planting these soon. So now a little bit of indoor planting. So we'll start with some big tomatoes. Now for some little cherry tomatoes. And now onto the leeks, which amuses me because in French it is Poirot, as in the great detective Poirot. You know what I really love about leeks? Leek and potato soup with a bit of cream and some crispy bacon sprinkled on top with some fresh hot homemade bread. Yum yum. Now, I've never used these before. I'm not even really sure what part of the seeds. So I'm just going to drop it hard on the table. And plant the bits that have come off and hope that that is the seed. So that's it for today. We have planted leeks and we have planted tomatoes, and we have arranged some wood ready for next year to burn and to upcycle as a balcony, and we've talked about electricity. So hope you all have a great week everybody, and for now, auf Wiedersehen.